How you going, guys? Today I'm in like a Mazda 3. This is a 2015. I believe this will suit 2012, 2013 to 2015, 2016. Basically, you're looking if your dash looks like this. Small screen at the top. You got your control buttons here. That's how it looks. So we're going to do the install today. I do the update on it. I believe these actually, I think this one still actually works okay, but I believe these have a pretty common problem when they get stuck in like a cycle screen and they just like boot and close down and boot and close down. So we'll do this update today. We've probably got these just have a factory USB port. They've got a couple in the glove box here, so like those are like working. You can see this is the factory music, the factory one. Doesn't really have too much going on. You've got a little bit of data in here which no one ever uses. This is all off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That's pretty cool. It's got Android Auto as a fairly early model. I don't know if this has been like manually up this customer like manually updated this, because this is saying like a GitHub and some Gmail addresses. So I think maybe this customer's try to do an update themselves. You can get them online sometimes. Sometimes they like work okay, sometimes they don't. It's one of those things like someone's just trying to make it and it could be good or could not. Yeah, we don't have that hooked up, that's fine. Obviously that's going to be crap. The navigation will be old maps. Settings, just making sure there's not too much in here. Safety, what does it give us? Nothing. Sound, that's fine. Clock, door lock, turn lighting, devices, system. I just check this just to make sure there's anything too important in here that the factory system can do or can't do that we need to check our system can do. But that's what basically it. Steering wheel controls, that there. Reverse camera, so we'll keep that factory reverse camera like working. It doesn't have trajectory lines. That's basically it, so we'll go and put this in now. We'll show you how. Right, so we'll get started here. So if you pop this glove box open, you'll be able to get to this piece of trim here. This black piece. Well, some cars it could be silver or a different colour. Now you can use your trim tool under there. I just popped it down the end with my hand, but like now I'll come and use the trim tool under this bit here. So use your trim tool. We'll give these to you in the kit. You can just lever them under here, and you'll see this whole bit here will just slowly pop out. Comes out like that, fairly straightforward. Little push down switch, push down a lever to take out that. That pops out that whole back part, and if you look under in here, you've just got one. These are pretty straightforward, these ones. You've got one 10mm nut there to undo. Done up reasonably tight, that one, so you will need a bit of an extension. You might have to put two together really to get in there. This was about on the limit, and just take that out. Then you got your top here now. It's just going to pull out directly out towards you, so just pull it out towards you like so, and then you got a few plugs that need to come out. So just show you up here, they're all quite tight, so you should get your hands in there and like take them all out. They've all got the tabs in the top you got to push down then. That's all the plugs out there. It's the back of the old unit. If you come up, those are all your plugs. So what I meant, they all have these little tabs you push down. If they like seem a bit stuck, I push it all the way back in and then push the tab down, because sometimes if it gets halfway out and you're trying to push the tab down, it just won't work. So those are all our plugs we had there. Now I'm going to show you what you get in the kit. Right, there's a fair bit going on in this kit just because there is a few like models of this car, and you might have a CD player in the glove box or like an amplified version. But at the start, we've got our screen, pretty straightforward, built in like Facia. That's our main 20-pin plug, auxiliary plugs, 4G, FM, AM antenna. You can see we've got this here, which is going to plug into our center console control, just like the old one. So we've got that. So that is the screen, obviously, all built in, all high spec like all your units. We've got the controller. We've got like an OBD2 scan tool so you can pick up the data. We've got an OBD scan tool so we can like pick up the things and do different things. You can like view that on the head unit. It runs like Android. Hydration assistant, always important. This is a DAB. This won't be in your kit. This is if you choose to like, add it on. Some people do, some people don't. Now, a whole lot of cables. You might need these, you might not. I'm going to cover them in the install. These are long because some cars have like a factory amplified system and it's all a bit different. So I'll cover that a bit later on. But I basically can talk to the car's system. You got all your CAN bus boxes. I like manual for like our M series, trim removal tools, USB stick here to do the updates. So and then we have plugs. Let's keep the factory reverse camera working. You can run a second camera if you want to. Probably won't be like using this. Like pre-outs again, probably won't be like using it because you won't be running like an aftermarket amp, but if you are, you will need this. These are our 2 USBs and external mic. We'll use that. So a third USB port. This is handy if you want to run our tyre pressure or dash cam or something. Obviously our GPS antenna, because like this thing can be its own like nav. A 4G antenna and like the SIM card slot, so you can give this its own SIM card and it can treat it like a phone pretty much. We've got 2 other USB retention cables, so hopefully one of these will work. And our Bluetooth or Wi-Fi antenna, so this one has to go in. Trim removal tools. That's everything that's in the kit. So after that, what you need to go and do is you need to go and grab the cable kit and find out like which one you're going to need. So one of them is a more like basic one. It isn't as long. It's about like this long. You got this plug on it and this plug here. Now on this car we don't need like this one. You could probably tell if you were going to need it's like this one, because in the top here you would have a big plug. I don't think too many cars here in Australia are going to have that one. I think they're all going to be like this. So the screen's up here. We're using this huge cable kit that looks like a big like mess at the moment, but we'll tidy that up in a second. But basically what you got to do is match up 2 plugs into here. So 2's plugged in. This one here is our USB. We'll use that a bit later on. This one we're not using at the moment. There's one more. This would have been the old like GPS, this blue one, so we won't be using that at all. So we'll put these 2 plugs in. Tick tick. Then you got to pop this off down here. So there's a little screw at the back there, and like this little part will come off, and then you can just pull this trim part up here with your hands. So this will just like pop off, you pull it with your hands. You can pull off the corner bit. Just remember it's got the screw at the back there you undo. It just looks like this. Then you'll have a 10mm a nut in here, a bolt in here. Just like unscrew that, and that'll allow you to pull off this. And then in here is actually where the main deck of the radio is. So you've got your main plug here, which we've plugged into our one. You've got your secondary plug, which again is plugged into one in our harness here. You can see that. And you've got your radio FM AM antenna, again, which we've plugged into our harness. So like that. And then we come back over here, and into here we've just plugged our main plug in. We'll put our reverse camera in. I'll cover that one in like a second. And we'll put in our FM AM plug. And you can see our CAN bus is plugged in on both sides here. Just make sure you push this plug in on both sides, as like sometimes like this one can be unplugged. And you'll see that our unit's like powering on. We got our sound coming through, and our steering wheel controls are working. So those are what we want to test. That we have power, we've got sound, and we're getting our radio coming in. The next thing to test is our reverse camera. We'll check that out in like a second. Just like a little note here too, if you try and turn the car off and like the unit doesn't turn off, cut this wire here on your green plug. So you can see this red one here that's been cut now. Just I cut that. And like future kits, we'll try and put a little plug on it here so you can just unplug it. But for now, if you do have the issue, turn the car off and the radio's still going, you can't lock it, just cut this plug here. So up next, obviously we've got our controller. We are changing it to one that suits our unit. So it should be like a factory fit here. So what you do, start with your trim tool on the start here. You'll be able to pop this up. There's a small little piece of sort of matting that you can pull up here, a rubber matting. And you can pop from the start here. And if you pop along, this whole bit comes off. Unpin the handbrake. And then unscrew your knob, put these parts down there, and then you should just be able to pull this whole thing up. Now I can't because there's a couple plugs in the bottom. I'll unplug those and I'll show you where those are. That was the one plug that had to be undone, so push down, that will come off. You can bring your vacuum cleaner in here if you want. Then we'll go and swap these over. Got 4 Phillips heads to take out, 1, 2, 3, 4. After you take out all of those 4, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. This whole bit pulls out and swap them over. So you just got to pull the clips out of here, so just pop that out and then swap these 2 clips onto our one over here. So you can see all swapped over there. We put those 2 clips back on. These clips just pop off. You can just use a little flat head and then just put it back in where you took it off. Put those 4 screws back in just like that, and you'll have your complete one with our controller in it now. And we've got our control cable for our centerpiece there. So the end with the number on it here, it goes up at the top, and the other end comes in down here. Now we will include a cable puller in our kit, so if you get one without one, we apologise, but in the future we'll have a cable puller in there because it's pretty hard to get it through. So what we've done is we've tucked in up here and pulled it through up here. It's obviously going to have to follow this other one and go in between the aircon. And then to get the other way, we've tucked it through the bottom and that like sort of same gap behind here, and I pulled it through here. Now we're just going to put everything back in reverse that we took off and clip it all down. Alright, so that's all in, just looking like factory fit. Pretty straightforward. When you put it back on, I normally clip from the back first. Clip down, clip it all in, put your knob back on, you put that trim around there back on, put this clip back on your handbrake. Handbrake's got to be up as you slide it back on. All good to go. So pretty straightforward. Only difficult thing is you really need a cable puller. We'll try and include one like this in the kit when you get one. Just going to run all our auxiliary cables, is what I call them. So we'll start with GPS. All these cables, you just, it's going to actually pretty easy up there. Our GPS just needs a clear view through like the windscreen without any steel above it. So peel the 3M stick thing off the back of it, like so. Stick pad off, come up under here, find your spot, stick it down, give it a good push down, just like anything that uses one of these. Push it down for 20 seconds or so, all around, make sure it has a good stick. GPS, fairly straightforward. 4G antenna. This is if you're using a SIM card on the unit. Some people do, some people don't. You might as well put it in, that way it's in, even if you're not like using it. Again, peel the stick off. This again can go on the same sort of thing. We normally try and give a little bit of distance from the GPS antenna, even though they won't actually affect each other. Sometimes getting that to peel off is a bit of a struggle. Again, find another flat piece of dash. Now, give it a good stick down. That's out. There. 2 USBs and external microphone. We normally suggest kind of plug the system in and test it, and I'll make a call like to see if you do need to use the external microphone, because a lot of times you actually might not need to use it. If you are using it, just means you run it up into the trim here. So we've got this here, which is our USB retention cable as well. So find this little 4-pin plug that you had floating around from the old unit, this little green thing here, and hook this into here. Just plugs in, and that should keep one of our original USBs working. Plugs into there like that. We'll tape that up and tidy it up a bit, but the other one I normally just run through into the glove box. So wherever you can find a little gap to run that through. Don't know how hard it'll be on this model. Easy. Coming over the top here is going to be a much better place to run it. Oh yeah, there's a little spot there you can go through. There you go, you'll be able to get that through with your hand pretty easy. We will tape the other one up, and then what are we left with? I left with this, which will plug directly into the head unit, because we don't need the RCAs on this one, the pre-out, so I'll plug that in like now. That saves you forgetting it. If you had a Bose model car, so you had the Mazda 3 of the Bose, you'll be needing to use our pre-outs and plug 2 of the auxiliaries in, because you have the amplified system. So on the main harness there'll be a couple of auxiliary plugs you have to plug into our ones. SIM card tray. Again, if you want to give the unit its own SIM card, a lot of people don't use it, some people do. Best to put in the glove box, and if you ever do need to use it, you do have it. So if you follow that same there's a good little spot up here you can get things through without too much trouble, which is quite nice. Thank you, Mazda. There you go, that's going to go into the third USB. Handy if you're going to be running our DAB, tyre pressure system, dash cam, etc. In this case we are actually doing the DAB, so I will leave that behind the glove box, because that's where I normally put the DAB little module. Again, pass it back through, like so. That's in. Double check, we've done everything. Cool, that's looking pretty good. That's all our auxiliary plugs done. Now, if you've got to use this little harness, you're in luck. But if you didn't, you're using the big harness, we've got to take the plugs that are coming from our big harness here, our big messy harness. So we've got 1, 2. It's only 2, so it isn't too bad here. So we've got these 2 plugs. What we want to do is we want to tuck them up and behind here. So we want to get them to come out the top, because all our excess plugs we're going to, and cables, we're going to cable tie in the back here and tidy up. So we've got to unplug these 2 and get them to go up under here and pop out the top. Just remember you got the air con vents in the front here, so you ideally want to come in the top here. So we'll pop those through now. So obviously once you have it all working, you kind of want to tape this bit up, because we have to get this and our antenna plug up behind the unit again. Now if you had the Bose system again, these could be going into our like pre-outs, or you have another set here that could be going into our pre-outs to get the Bose like system like working. And if your steering wheel control is working, there is a couple options on here. You'll see they'll say key 1 and key 2. You can swap these little black plugs around to get the steering wheel controls to work. Ours are like working fine, so we need to like worry about it. And then like factory camera, you would also need this one up here plugged into our cam in. So what you want to do is you want to like power the unit up before you go and run all like the wires. So you just like power it up on the seat there, you plug it in. Just make sure you got like steering wheel controls, like sound, like radio and reverse cameras working. In this car here, we couldn't get the factory reverse camera to work, or we weren't getting power on it, so we just run our aftermarket one. But like you want to hook everything up before you run all these like wires and just get everything like working, because there is a few options on this harness. So you've got the RCAs for like sound, so obviously like those would plug into our RCAs here, into the front left and front right ones. The camera you would plug into our purple cam in. Now there was two camera plugs on this harness to get it like working. So what you do is you try like both of them into the cam in, put the car in reverse, obviously with it on. What else we got on this harness? We have an extra plug we're not like using. Now where does it run here? Up to you. You could, if you're not like using it, you can actually just like chop it off. We've got like enough like, room to just, like tape everything up behind here. Someone actually just tape it up and like sort of leave it there. Another plug with some auxiliary in left and like right that was going to obviously like this plug here, and a can high and a can low. So there's a few little things here. If the plug's going like nowhere, you didn't have like a match for it, and you have one like these hanging off it that was like plugged into like a different one, so you can like swap them over, because obviously that needs to be swapped over. And then on like this one too, we did, I know like future kits will like sort it out, but we did have to cut that ACC wire there, otherwise the car wasn't turning off. So we will tape that up too before we put it away, but we had to get rid of that wire. That's pretty much everything on this harness. There is a bit to it, it's a little bit confusing. Take like photos, give us a call or email or text, and like we can like help you through it. It's just because like Mazda has a few variations, and they have that like Bose amplified system, which this car I didn't have. Now we're going to try and get this big fat thing up, same place we've got like these two. So we'll get our cable puller out again and we'll try again. Here's the mess of wires. Now this install is a little bit time consuming, things are a little bit tight. Okay, now instead of going like backwards, I try to go up from like the bottom of our main harness here. It's much easier to like drop it down from the top. So grab the 3 plugs you're using over here, like drop them down the back here. There's a little spot, if you like put your hand in the back, you'll actually like feel it, and they'll just like drop down above your clutch pedal, brake. Obviously like run them up and like sort of follow along where like another cable will fit nicely. So you might have to take them above the steering column, and there is like a cable tray at the back wall there. So if you can always kind of like copy into where the other cables are running, that's always best, because you can like tape them onto there. They're all down there. I've plugged everything like back in. Those couple cables we aren't like using are still like floating around here. So what I'll probably do is like tuck them down as well. So like tape them up and like tidy it all up under there. You haven't got a huge amount of like sort of room behind here, so like this big major CAN bus like box we'll probably try and get to fit just in the back here. So I will do that. We've got all our other auxiliary plugs I'll tape up and tidy up a bit in a bit. We've got to take the 3 clips off the factory like Facia and put them onto here, so we'll do that. And then basically I'm just gonna plug everything in and like make sure everything's still working, and then we'll go from there. Now on like this car, I've run our reverse camera aftermarket one, even though it had like a factory one because we couldn't get it to work. So you just have to like tap into the orange and black wire here. So you cut that, and you put the green wire in for the trigger. And this is just the reverse camera bit. I'll show you what I've done there. It's all fairly straightforward, but you want to like pop this off. So you just put a little like screwdriver, little like flathead under these clips on the top, and you'll like pop each one of those clips off and they come off. There is a little handle thing here. If you put your hand in on this side, you can like push out the handle, and then this whole cover comes off. And now the factory camera was plugged into here and was coming through into like this little spot here. Now by the time we're like finished, it's going to basically look like factory anyway, because our camera is going to be like sitting in that exact same spot, so you really can't tell that that's not a factory camera. I'll show you a little picture at the end. But that was the camera bit. That just like pops out of there with your finger. Again, you can sort of like pop it from the inside. Our RCA cables and like DC power cable here. You want to take the power off the reverse lights. The brown was plus, black was like negative. So our 2 loose wires here. You like tap into the power off there. Run this cable down here. I'll pop it into the side. It's pretty easy to run cables inside the sedans. You don't really have to like take off much sort of like plastic. Just like tuck it up under. You can like tuck it up under here. You can just use your trim tool to help you do it. Tucking under through here, and I popped it through the sort of same hole. I like popped all like these things through, and I took it out behind here. So that's the reverse camera, our aftermarket one installed. We'll go and power everything up now to make sure it's all good. Now after you've tucked all of the wires back, sort of tuck them behind, get all lined up, and you can sort of push the main deck part in, and you'll see it should clip in nicely with those plastic clips you had before. Let's get up in here a little bit of a look. Yeah, they're just a little bit, just got to kind of come and hide. Make sure those clips all line up. Push it in. Just remember to leave your AC one out here, and you've obviously got your plug that was into your bottom here. Now always make sure you spend time like making sure your plugs are in. So you had that plug that's your controller down here, then you had all your plugs around the outside that was in the back. There was quite a few plugs. Just make sure that just like obviously take your time and like double check they're all in. After you've got like this far, always power up the unit, just check. It'll just slow boot at the moment because it's on its like first time. So I ended up tucking extra wires we weren't like using like down the bottom here. You can see some of them just lying down there. I will tape those up out of the way because there's heaps of room up above the pedals. So basically all you're checking is radio, got sound, put it in reverse. Got our reverse camera happening. Yeah, steering wheel controls, radio, the sort of other main things. Right now, I would also make a phone call and just check our microphone to see if I do need to run the external one, because now would be the time to do it. And then apart from that, you want to push the 10mm nut back in here, and then the AC will go back in, and we'll just cover a few more things. We've put that 10mm bolt back in the middle there, plug our hazard switch back in. Just make sure your little cable that was going to the center console one kind of sits in the middle, because it needs to slide in between these two aircon vents. So if we can get that happening, shouldn't be too hard to get that all going in how it should. It feels a bit funny, like it's not going in properly. Just double check that this cable's not in the way. It's all sort of starting to line back up. We'll just clip back in, sew all the way along, and there you have it, looking pretty factory installed there. That's what it looks like. So we'll put that back down there. It's all looking pretty good. So this is all pretty much in now. I'm just going to pair the other phone to it and set CarPlay up, and just like I'll make a call. You'll get a couple, you got to hook like Bluetooth to it, and then you get a few pop-ups on your phone, and that'll basically deal with it all. That'll give you CarPlay, wireless CarPlay going on. The glove box here I just need to put back in. Obviously I'll tidy up these, and there should be a third USB tucked down here somewhere. I think there you go, third USB. We'll use one of these for DAB. To pull this off, you just got to like push it in, and then you've also got like this on the end here, so you need to pull that off. It just actually, if you put a lot of force on it going like that way, it'll pop down. But there you have it. So you got a wireless CarPlay. I was going to just make a test call now to make sure it all sounds good. Obviously you still got your controller here working, so if I got my volume on here, or let's say I want to go back to the home page, or the radio, that all still works. And obviously steering wheel controls are still working. We can put it into reverse. We used our camera here for this reverse camera, so you can see it's HD, so she's pretty crystal clear. And actually you still have some of your sort of maintenance information in here. Fuel economy. You've still got most your car like settings in here. And obviously you got some of the stuff coming in, which is obviously isn't too much use sometimes, but it comes in just by default. I'm using the buttons down on the center console here to do this stuff. Yeah, so that's basically everything. Obviously you can install whatever apps you want on here. It's got the Play Store, HD screen. That one's going to be CarPlay and Android Auto, like wireless, which the majority of people are going to like use it for. But if you do want to install other apps, you can do. So all looking good. The install is a little bit time consuming because of the cables. If you do have the Bose like setup, you'll run the cables down to this other one down here. So out of 5, like 5 being the hardest, like I'd put this installed at a 3. It's time consuming. It's going to take you like 4 hours to do it. Just by the time you like run the cables in, obviously like tuck them back down and whatnot. But it's all done and it's a good upgrade, because I do know on these models I think the factory system can fail sometimes.